Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be listening from. I'm Ash, and this is Indie Insider. My guest today is Bryan. How are you, Bryan?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. What's the weather like there?
It's crazy. I'm in Las Vegas and it's beautiful and sunny, but it's
Oh,
about 36 degrees.
wow. I was
Yeah,
actually
so
in Las Vegas in August,
oh yeah?
and I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, we were just talking about my girl and I were just talking about London. It was somewhere we want to visit. I'm not even kidding. Yeah,
Really? Oh, you must. You
yeah,
must come and visit. There's so much to see and do. You just can't do it in a day.
that's true. That is true. Um,
Okay, Bryan, could you tell us how you started the band, or how did
yeah,
it start?
it's crazy. I'm the lead singer of the band Elvis Monroe. So
Okay,
that's Elvis, like as in Elvis Presley and Marilyn Monroe.
right.
Um, I started this band with my buddy, and he's one of my best friends, but he happened to be in my all-time favorite band at the time, Lifehouse.
Okay.
And, You and Me, Hanging by a Moment, all these big hits. And we met, it was crazy, a mutual friend, a guy named Toby Rand from Rockstar Supernova, the TV show. He's out of Australia. We were
Okay.
hanging out, and we went to go meet up with his bandmates and some other friends at a diner about 3 o'clock in the morning on Sunset
Oh,
Boulevard in Hollywood.
okay.
And we sit down, and I sit down across from Ben Carey. And Ben Carey, I didn't know what band he was in, whatever. And before you know it, he says to me, I'm in a band called Paperback Hero at the time. And he says to me, hey, you should, let me play second guitar and show you what a second guitar would sound like in your band. And I went, oh no, he knows my band. He knows my band.
Wow.
And I asked him, do you play around here much? And he does the not really. And then, we just kind of conversation. He's a nice guy, whatever. Pretty soon it gets down to, you know, you were, you're maybe you're horrible, maybe I'm horrible. Let's just leave it at this. And he goes, name off your favorite bands again. And I go, Lifehouse, STP, and all of a sudden he goes, stop. I'm in that band. And I'm like,
Wow.
what? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, I'm the guitar player in Lifehouse. And I'm like, oh, you're one of the blurred out guys in the background. I was kidding. But
Okay.
yeah, and we hit it off. And so over time, he started playing with me. When he had the time, he would join us with second guitar. We started recording, and there was just magic there. And the guy that we brought in to sing harmonies on the record was a guy named Matt Nelson, Ricky Nelson's son, one of the twins.
Wow.
And so when this little side project came about, we did a little show for Universal Studios, a press release for their new stage, and they asked me to come do it. Played a song that I wrote with Ben and a new song that I had written with him, and we just tried it out. And the next day, he just said we should do a little side project, and so I said we got to get Ryan McMillan from Matchbox 20 on drums, and
Right.
um, and he was currently in Matchbox 20 at the time, and so we asked him, and probably 30 minutes later, Matt Nelson had called and said, "Hey Ben, I want to do a little project with you," and he goes, "You're about 30 minutes too late. I just
Wow.
agreed to do something with Bryan," and he said, "Well, what songs are you going to be doing?" And he said, "Well, for now, songs that Bryan's written, and then a couple that he and I have written together." And Matt said, "Let me in. I've got the perfect name." And he goes, "Elvis Monroe is going to be. It's got to be the name. We got to get people to call Bryan Elvis, kind of like being Hootie and the Blowfish, and your name's
Right.
Darius Rucker. They call him Hootie." And so that was his little, niche and little thing. And so that's how the project started. And
Wow.
yeah, we just started developing it by, we'd play at a little cafe in Claremont, California, which in LA, 35 miles would take 2 hours to drive because of the traffic.
Wow, that's
But
bad.
yeah, but we would drive out there, set up and play, and in this a little restaurant, and in the back it was outside. And the first time we played, maybe 35 to 50 people showed up. The second time is about 100. And then every Thursday we would pack it out at 300 people. And
Jeez.
we would try and write new music every week. And um, we got a call to go to Las Vegas to do a show. And somebody saw us play. And next thing you know, we were offered a once a month that turned into two times a month residency in Las Vegas, and eventually
Fantastic.
we just moved here. We don't have a residency anymore.
Oh,
We're a touring band now.
oh, good,
So
good.
yeah, we find ourselves going out on the road. We went out with Three Doors Down, Daughtry. We've played with Bush Live, Lifehouse even. And then
Jeez.
on the country side of stuff, we've been out with Brett Young, who I actually wrote a song with. We were at a little bar. We met up. He was out with Lady A. We were out with Daughtry, and we pulled our bus into this little bar in Beaver Creek, Oregon. And
Right.
I heard a conversation and between he and his girlfriend, who's now his wife, and came up with this song title or came up with a song concept, and he came up with the title, and I wrote it a couple of days on the bus, and that's coming on our next album as well. So,
Wow.
but yeah, we tour with a lot of country artists and whatnot.
That's
So as well,
fascinating.
yeah.
Absolutely fascinating. And you both enjoy touring?
I love it. We Ben's a little tired because he before he was in Lifehouse, he was in a band called Savage Garden out of Australia,
Oh my
and
gosh, are you
yeah,
serious?
yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow,
he
my
was a teen.
favorite.
Yeah, he was a teen and got the gig after he was playing pro basketball, and he was in high school playing pro basketball in Australia, and he got hurt, and he auditioned for this band, and then maybe he said it was the wildest thing. They were practicing, put out a single, and next thing you know, he goes, "We never went to a bus. We went from a van to private planes." That's how big
Jeez.
that band got
They got
quickly.
huge. Wow.
Yeah, he said we never really did the bus thing. It was all flights. They were just flying in to
Jeez.
places. It was
I, I tell you
crazy.
what, Brian, I am so impressed that you actually know your band member is the guy from Savage Garden. I take my hat off to you. I really
Thanks.
do.
Yeah,
They were such a good band. I'm sure if they were still around today, they would be a good band. But wow,
yeah, yeah.
I'm
Well,
speechless.
it's wild. So Ben and I, right now we are Elvis Monroe. We did have a guy named David Pichette from Emerson Drive in the band who joined us, um, along this journey, and he played fiddle. But
Right,
then we kind of steered away from that. Started recording this new album during COVID. Started writing and recording. And we were doing it separately because no one knew what was going on in the world, and he would send me stuff, I'd write to it. He would sit in his studio and just start tracking it, but he's so talented that he played everything but the drums. He got the drums programmed, and then turned around and we had a drummer come in. Al Serrato came in and played drums for us on the
right.
record. um, and I'm currently, right now, he's been so busy doing this corporate band thing right now. Ben has with Bryce from Lifehouse, the bass player, and
Okay,
Toby Rand, who I mentioned. They have a band called Radio XX, which is like a corporate cover band, and then they've been playing all over the U.S. doing this because of where they're from. Ben's from Savage Garden and Lifehouse, and Bryce is from Lifehouse, and Toby's from Rockstar Supernova. So those guys have been off doing that. I don't know if you knew this about me, but there was a shooting here in Las Vegas, the mass shooting in October
Yes.
of 2000, October 1, 2017. I was um I was there, and I was there with
Wow.
Ben, and we were backstage just before all this stuff happened, and we made our way out front because we wanted to fanboy out
Right.
and watch Jason from the front. And we knew Jason and Jason Aldean.
Okay.
And so we walked out front, and not to get into it, but there was chaos and craziness going on, and the kid that I had just taken a photo with went about 15 feet behind me, and it was 22,000 people. We were left front side,
Right.
um, and when everything started to happen, Ben got hit in the arm. There were
Oh my word.
pe- people going down in front of us, people going down behind us, and he said run, and I started to run with him, and I looked back, and the girl standing in front of me was frozen, and
Oh
she's looking
gee.
right at me. So I went back, I grabbed her and said, stay with me. And I look over my shoulder and I can't find Ben. And well, the reason why I couldn't find him is he'd been trampled.
Oh
And
geez.
I didn't know. And so I'm like, let's go. And I weaved them through all these running people running one direction, and I took them the way that was the way that I came through, which was the backstage, entrance. And I cleared the corner, and we were running, and then I cleared the corner again, and you can hear people screaming and splatting and of the bullets hitting the
Mm.
pavement, hitting the staging, hitting, so uh we come up around a corner, I see a fence, and I know that I can get over, but I don't know that I can get them over. And somebody said, get in here, and there was a refrigerator truck.
Right.
And so I lifted her and her friend, and then anyone who was needed help, I just stood there putting him inside this truck. And till we got inside the truck, and I was telling people, stay down, be quiet, and just kind of trying to gather what computing what's going on in my head and whatnot, and trying to keep everybody calm. And I went to make a video for my family right after I opened the door and heard gunfire still. And so I shut the door, and they pulled me down because I'm standing there, just standing. And then I pulled down and I made a video, and this guy interrupts the video. And then I was like, I'm not going to die in here. So
Yeah.
I, I, went and there was breaking the fire, and someone went to open the door, and someone had put a ramp from the back of the truck onto the fence, and someone hit the ramp, went over, and I said, we gotta get the women over the fence, and somebody's got to catch them on the other side. And someone did. Someone stayed for a moment and was catching them, and I was getting them out of the truck and then putting them over the wall. And I turned, and Nicole were both. Hold on one second, my dog.
No worries.
Get in here. My there was breaking the fire, and I was lifting people over the fence, and I turned, and Nicole both. That's their names.
Right.
Nicole Rufino, and Nicole Yorba, and they said, we're not leaving you. And I'm like, no, you go over, and I'm going to follow. I'm going to get you over. And so I tried, and I couldn't. There was Nicole Rufino was slipping back, and so I grabbed her by the waist and was going to start running towards the artist entrance,
Right.
and I hear a police officer. I hear a voice yell, run this way, run into the dark. And it was a police officer, and my phone was still recording, so I still got that. And you can hear
Wow.
gunfire, you can hear screaming, and he runs towards the gunfire. And he told us, run this way, run towards Hooters. And so I grabbed him, and we did, and we were running past people on the ground, which gives me nightmares. And I feel bad because my focus was to get them out. And there were three other people that I was leading out by foot as well,
Gee whiz.
to safety. So we get to the gate and you see somebody shot and somebody on top of them trying to breathe life into them, crying, and
Oh,
there were people on the ground, and I tell them to run into the dark, and so they start running towards the darkness where people scattering going left and right, and I've got them going a different direction, and there somebody had been shot in a passenger seat in a car with people hunkered down behind it, and I we just kept running, and I got him to safety, and there was so much more to that, but over time, I the way I dealt with this was talking to Nicole,
right.
and we ended up like I went out on tour. I remember knocking on her door. I told the bus driver we were going out on tour, three doors down, and I said, I forgot something at the store, and I ran to the store, but I raced to her house here in Vegas,
Gosh.
knocked on her door because she almost died of a rare disease in November, which was a month later, and she had
Oh,
asked for me in the hospital. So I sat by her bed until they asked me to leave
right.
because they didn't know what it was, and she didn't remember asking for me. I was shocked that she was asking for me.
Oh, my
So
word.
so I had knocked on her door and said, hey, um, one day you're going to choose somebody, and you'll get married, and this person has me to answer to now as well. Like we've been through way too much,
Of course.
um and so I said my goodbyes and went out on tour for 3 months, and in the middle of the tour she surprised me in California, and it shocked me. And then, so at the end of the tour, I flew her out to Chicago, Illinois in the snow, and she got off the bus and told me she loved me. And we've been
Oh,
together ever since.
oh, that's
So,
such a nice story, Brian.
yeah.
Honestly,
So,
it's so,
but yeah. But in this journey, though, between these months, she was writing poetry, I was writing songs, and I had written 6 songs between bringing One Day Someday, which is about a girl that's going to change my world, that I wrote with Ben Carey and Brett Young.
right.
Um, I brought that demo to the Route 91 that Friday when Brett was playing, or that Saturday that Brett was playing, and wrote these songs along the way. And the last song I wrote was "Falling for You Bad," which is on our new record, which is out now. Story so
Fantastic.
far, but that song was to her. And so that way she knew how I felt about her, and I was taking a shot. I could be
Yes.
ruining this bond that we have together.
Right.
And February 10th will be 6 years for us. And
Wow.
it's pretty
Well, I
amazing
think
person.
the story you've just told us, I think, you two were meant to be together.
Yeah, I hope so. It's the way it feels. So
Oh, that's
it's
good.
pretty
Well, I hope I get
pretty
the invite
amazing.
to the wedding.
That'd be amazing.
I'll be there with bells on. Oh, but Brian,
Ash, you're awesome. Yeah.
that's I've actually got chills. The story you've just
Uh,
told me, I've got absolute chills. What you've seen, what you've went through, and Ben getting shot in the arm, and I can't imagine the thought that was going through your mind.
Well, it was Ben that got hit, and the kid. This was the wildest thing because it's 22,000 people there, and we get a couple of calls, and one was to play a show on October 5th here in Las Vegas for our city, and get up and do what we love to do. We play music, and we
Yes,
didn't want to get that taken away from us. So we did a benefit show at Red Rock with a band called Otherwise
right.
and us. And I had written a song called "The Fight" with Ben and the singer from Otherwise. We did this song for the American Heart Association after meeting these kids that had been through so much. But what I did was it was never really finished, and so I asked the permission of the people that like that I originally written it for, and it wasn't for them. It was just me doing it.
Right.
Uh, and I pulled in Ben and I pulled in Adrian to try and do something special. Well, I said, the city's going through so much. People are going through so much. I'm going to rewrite this. And so I rewrote it, and we performed it on October 5th. Then
Right.
October 6th, we played it in California, and well, we did a show in California as well, a benefit concert there. And this is days later because we're not letting music being taken away from us.
Of course.
And there were a few girls there being interviewed by Channel 7 in LA. And all of a sudden they come rushing up to me and crying. And they told me what I did for them, that I put them in this truck, I put them over the wall. And then all of a sudden people just started coming out because I've done about 200 interviews around the world, like CNN,
Right.
Inside Edition, Daily Mail, all these things around the world
Wow.
have interviewed me, and that all that interview stuff happened, on from Sunday till this, Monday morning until Tuesday night. So I had been up for 3 days
Oh,
doing
pain.
this, but it's because it was positive, I guess and I was just going on pure, like I didn't know what I'd seen. So I get a call though to play Alaska,
Ooh.
and for two fallen Alaskans that had
Okay.
died in the shooting.
Oh,
So we go out and we do this. We raise $16,000 for one small acoustic show, but it was big. It sold out, and we raised this money for them for their funerals. And this guy walks up to me and says, thank you for doing this. That was my best friend. And I get up, I hug him. I said, I'm sorry. And I said, I'm sorry we're meeting like this. And he goes, no, I was there too. And I'm like, oh, you were. And I hug him again. And then I said, seriously, this is a horrible way to meet. And he goes, we met that night. And then it was like the walls were moving because I realized he and his friend were the ones that were running up to me, calling me Elvis, and
oh,
they said, can we get a picture? We saw you with Jay Gowen, and we saw you with Lee Bryce another time. And so they were real fans. And he said he was shot and killed instantly when
oh,
they went
jeez.
right behind me. And I had no idea. And so out of all those people, you know, I knew that he was having a great time,
Yes.
and I was able to tell his mother that too. Like I said, when I met your son, and I had just had dinner with her the night before, listening
Right.
to stories about her son, not knowing that I had met him moments before this happened.
Oh,
So
Brian,
it
that's
was just like,
horrible.
yeah, but it was just, like, like I was supposed to be there kind of
Yes.
thing. And so that's a song called The Fight. We never released it because I never wanted to feel like, was using that night for anything. We
Sure.
had Steel Panther, Joe Nichols, um, just all of these people sing on the song, perform on the song, but never put it out. But we did play it live, and there is a video of it, a live video, The Fight by Elvis Monroe on YouTube.
I'm going to
So
go and check that out. As soon as we've
yeah,
finished, I'm going to check it out. I really, really, really enjoyed talking with you today.
oh, you too.
It's it's been fascinating, and I just can't stop thinking what a hero you are.
No, I appreciate that, but that was honestly, and I say this and I absolutely mean it, because when Ben said Ron, and I look back, and instantly I had purpose, and
Yes.
Ben got out. Ben got out, but I had purpose, and the purpose was to get them out. And when my dad asked me, "Were you scared?" at 3 o'clock in the morning, as my face and video is on CNN, and you hear my voice talking because they had interviewed me
Right.
just before I even got home. And dad, my dad says to me, "Were you scared?" And I said, "No." And then instantly, I started to get scared because I realized I wasn't bulletproof, but my focus was them, Nicole and Nicole. and
Right.
anybody who was standing near me. And so I was moving methodically, so I didn't think about any of that stuff. I didn't think about, what could happen to me, which was weird because then I got scared when I was perfectly safe at
Yeah.
home sitting in front of my dad. I bring my parents. The thing about me is, before my brother was sick, my parents went back to Oregon. Uh, my parents would live with me about 7, 8 months out of the year.
Right.
So they would come out here during the winters of Vegas and go back in the summers, in Oregon and Washington.
Yeah.
And I would bring my dad. My dad's the one who got me into music, and my mom loved music as well. My mom listened to 50s stuff. My dad was a country singer. So I bring my dad out on stage in front of thousands. And so if you go to elvismonroe.com, you'll see this silver haired, long hair, silver Indian or Native American Indian.
Okay.
You see my dad on stage with me,
Right.
playing spoons in front of thousands.
Wow. I'm going to
So
also check that out.
it's super special. And I bring my mom on red carpets, and I just include them in as much as we can, because at the end of the day, you don't get a lot of time with your parents.
Exactly.
And so I try and do that. So,
Try and do
you
that.
know.
Unfortunately, Brian, we're out of time. But
Oh, I'm
before,
sorry. I
no,
talk a
no, no,
lot.
don't worry. No, I really enjoyed this. But before we go, if you could just tell everyone where to find you on social media, where they can get your music,
Sure.
etc.
Sure. Well, you can find everything at elvismonroe.com, or on Instagram, it's Elvis Monroe Official. It's the same on YouTube, same. Well, it's Elvis Monroe, I think, band on X or Twitter. We try and get. I'm the one who has to run all the social media, and we try
Right.
and do our best. We've hired teams and people, but they seem to just screw it up. And we want real fans. We want real. I don't want fake numbers. I don't want any of that stuff.
Exactly.
I really don't. And as soon as I see numbers climbing too quickly, I'm like, something's going on.
Something's
Like,
wrong.
and
Yeah.
yep. So, and they dwindle down anyway because they're fake. So we're right where we're supposed to be. And so it's all about this, reaching out to the people that are listening to us. And you guys have been playing Call Out for us, and I really appreciate it. um, a little story, that song is written about a young lady who died of cancer, who I sat by her bed for 8 days. She just worked at a grocery store in LA, next to where I would go all the time, and I would always find her and give her a hug and say hi to her. Her name was Gloria. And one day she let me know, her parents called and said she's dying. She's asking for you. And I said, I'll be right there. And so I
Right.
sat by her bed for 8 days. And when she passed, there was a note asking me to play her funeral.
Oh,
And I played her favorite song at her funeral, made everybody laugh because that's what she did with me. And then I read the note that she'd given me, and that was that I made her feel like she was seen. She didn't go unnoticed with me. She'd never had a boyfriend. She was young. She had never had a boyfriend. She was a bit awkward and whatnot, but I was drawn to her as her personality and who she
sure.
was, and I made her feel like she, like I said, felt seen. And so I left her funeral and I wrote this song Call Out, which you guys have been playing on the radio for her in
Oh, that's
honor of her,
beautiful.
the way she was feeling. And so that's what everything that you hear on my record comes from a personal place and a personal space. And um, so, and I'm
Oh,
excited about my
beautiful.
new album that I'm putting out now. So. Yeah.
We're looking forward to be playing one of your songs from the new album. So do send your new tracks.
Oh, I definitely will. You guys are great. Ash, thank you so
Thank you,
much for
Bryan.
taking the
Honestly,
time.
well, thank you
Yeah.
for taking your time out of your day to come and chat with us. And
Oh, I just had to get out of bed. It's
we
eight
can,
o'clock in the morning here.
oh my word, you can get back into bed now. Well, Bryan, have a good day. And again, thank you for taking time out of your day to come and chat with us. And I'm going to go and listen to your song, that video right now.
Thank you.
And you take care, Bryan.
You too, Ash.
Thanks a
Thank
lot. See you
you.
then.
Thank you.
Bye
Okay.
bye.